daily life. Hope you guys are having a great midweek so far. Happy Wednesday, or wherever it is that you guys are watching from. I'm just going to go on live on Facebook here, go live on Instagram. Got an interesting one today. Went through a lot yesterday, and so I'll try to break this down as logically as possible. But if you guys are just tuning in, Joseph Fire, and if you guys are catching this on replay, I appreciate you. Hashtag replay. So yesterday when Hang and I went for a walk, we were talking about how long it takes for someone to actually succeed, to put in the work day in, day out. Alex Hormozi was breaking down all these celebrities that are now billionaires, and it didn't happen overnight. It happened because of longevity. They spent, decades building their personal brand until they're able to materialize it. And Hang was talking about how I have the ability to articulate and speak, but I didn't always have this. And I started to develop this because I went on live every day for like more than 2 years. And before that, I was working in a corporate environment, and I needed to be able to communicate a lot of problems to stakeholders, manage relationships. And it was skills that was nurtured over time that has gotten me here. And someone might want to start, and they look at someone else's level 10 versus someone's level 1, and they feel disheartened, but they realize that they've just been in the game for so long. And I'm just so humbled every day to realize that I've only been in business for 3.5 years. And for us to accomplish what we have in 3.5 years is more than incredible. Like, we've made over $1 million over the last 3 years. Now, a lot of it was expenses, and maybe we could have allocated the finances a little bit better, but we've never dealt with that much money before. We've never dealt with being able to run a business like this before. And I'm very grateful that I put in that time. And when I look back, I don't think about what it costed me to show up every single day. I just think about all the benefits I get. Same thing going to the gym. You see someone that is in great shape and they've been consistent training for years, and you compliment their physique. Like, they don't think about all the days that they didn't show up. They just think about, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went and I focused on being consistent, and the progress happened over time. Like, if you're going to the gym hoping for a toner stomach, or you're hoping for bigger biceps, like, you're going to be disheartened. You're going to be demotivated every single session, because one, if you're comparing yourself every single day, it's going to look like you've made no progress, but you're not doing it for the outcome. You're doing it for the process. And just like this, I think my ability to speak and communicate over the next 1,000 videos is going to drastically change. And definitely somewhere along in 1 to 1,000, we're going to hit our 6-figure months. Once we unlock our 6-figure months, that just getting to 200 is going to be even easier, because it unlocks power, unlocks the power to invest into more education, and unlocks the power to buy back our time, to buy specialized time. Because right now, if we don't have the resources, we have to put in the man hours ourselves. And so, for example, if I were to do email marketing, send out lead magnets and do email marketing, I have to write the emails myself. While I'd be able to hire a copywriter, a good team that can work with us on a longer term, figure out what our brand identity is, and continue to produce copywriting content for us through email. And like, copywriting is huge. Some people make tens of millions of dollars through just email, like persuasive language. It's massive. We'd better have a good marketing agency to help us like run our ads once our organic can consistently churn out leads, and we're generating 50 to 100 on organic. We'd better get another 100 to 200 on paid traffic easily. And it becomes a snowball effect, and the growth becomes exponential. We'd have obviously different problems, and our problems won't be acquisition. Our problems will be, let me rephrase, not problems. Our bottleneck won't be acquisition, it will be fulfillment. And I was listening to an Alex Hormozi presentation yesterday, and I was actually watching all of his older stuff. I go to YouTube, I click on his videos, I click on his older stuff. And the reason why the older stuff is really valid, because the older stuff was from 3 years ago, which was during the first lockdown. And this is where gyms closed, and he was teaching his clients from gym launch to transition from in-person gyms to online. So that's exactly where we're at. And he was talking about how a lot of the clients that he works with, they solve acquisition so quickly. Like, barely any of his clients have any acquisition problems, because they know how to generate leads and they know how to generate ads which generates consistent leads. And now they just focus on fulfillment and scaling. And I can't wait for us to get to that point where the acquisition side is better, because our fulfillment side is great. I think we have great fulfillment. The feedback we get is great fulfillment. Could it be better? Absolutely. But right now, that's not the bottleneck. Bottleneck is acquisition. Once we unlock acquisition, that will then take us to the next level. And that's why I feel Alex Hormozi used the perfect analogy to describe how I'm feeling. And, right now we're anywhere between 20 to 50K a month. But I feel like we're just one step away from our 6-figure month. And the reason why I feel that is the analogy he uses is like you have a ladder, right? You want to climb a ladder, but you're building the ladder. You have one pole on the left side and one pole on the right side. I have the stuff on the right side, which is the time and capacity. I have the pole on the left side, which is the fulfillment, but we're just missing the rung in the middle. And once we have a rung, we start building the rung in the middle, we're able to climb like 3 steps. And once I get to the 6-figure months, I think our next challenge would be to scale up to, I think Hang and I will be, our calendars are full. We won't be able to take all the discovery and sales calls ourselves. We'll have to hire a sales team. We'll have to hire closers. We have someone that we're training up at the moment to potentially be a closer one day. And then once we have that, we'd probably have to hire like new coaches to manage fulfillment. And then once we have more resources, we can actually just get guest speakers to come into our community as well. I can get, for example, like other mindset coaches. I can get different psychologists. I can bring in nutritionists. I can bring in so many different types of people and pay them like $1,000 for a presentation and answer questions for that month, and do 4 of those. It's only $4,000 a month, but we're already making 6 figures and we're reinvesting back into the community. So it creates a lot more value, which means that the retention rate of our downsell low ticket offer is going to be much higher, because for only like $89 a month, you get access to all these different professionals, resources are consistently building. It just becomes like a really good, it becomes a perpetual wheel where we're going to continue to snowball and build. So that's what our next logical step is. And we've only been doing what we've been doing for 3.5 years, and we're still in our learning phase. So sometimes you might see people that have been able to do really well in a short amount of time, but that's not everyone, right? And it's important to not compare yourself to someone's level 10 as well. It's what do we need to do? And I just feel like that I have so much work I need to do, but it's a good thing. It's a good feeling of overwhelm. It just means once I'm able to overcome and start to churn away and tick off all the things that we need to do, I've drafted up 4 lead magnets that we're going to create. And these are going to be available in our community for our existing clients as well. But I think these are great. I think this encapsulates 90% of the struggles of the people I talk to in the messenger. How to have energy for your kids after work. I'm really excited about this one. I've been building this one for the last week and a half. And as I'm building, it's getting better and better. How to find time where you don't have time. That's more of a productivity and a work efficiency one. How to create everlasting motivation, and how to meal prep in under 30 minutes. Okay, the last one, how to meal prep in under 30 minutes. I don't really like the name. It sounds a little bit surface level. But I definitely want it to be something in relation to meal prep, and it'll be a resource for our clients that join. They can choose different ways that they can meal prep, a different hybrid model, and how they can actually meal prep for intuitive eating as well, where they don't even need to track a single calorie. So these resources I want to create, it has a little bit of a different spin. I think it just takes it 1 or 2 steps beyond what everyone else is taking. And it just encapsulates like a lifestyle, and it's more intuitive. And I think I just haven't seen any other, fitness or health creator that's creating something like this at least in the way that we want it. And I think that's where we know that we're heading in the right direction, that it's something that's actually quite unique. It is very practical. And I promise it's going to be free. And I promise that once you guys go through it, it is going to change your life. Like I can guarantee that. So that's why I'm getting really excited, because as I'm putting effort in, I know it's going to change a lot of lives. So one of the things Hang and I also spoke about was the speed to implementation. We listened to one of Alex Hormozi's presentation on the way home from gym. Hang and I would like to listen to this stuff together, and we start to spitball and share different ideas. And one of them was talking about how Alex presents his pillars. And as soon as I listened to that, the next day I was on a sales call and I implemented it straight away, and it was fire. We listened to it. Hank and I both listened to it, and it was executed. I wouldn't say perfectly, but near perfection, at least in reference to what I heard. And Hank's always amazed that I implement so quickly. And Alex, even in the exact presentation, talks about, learning's defined by same situation, different behavior. And most people, they listen to podcasts, they read books, and they don't fucking do anything with their lives at all. They haven't learned anything. Just because you store the information in your mind, if you haven't actually changed your actions, you actually haven't learned anything. If the analogy, the story that he uses is like, he gives you a red card, he slaps you in the face. Gives you a red card again, slaps you in the face. And then if I give you a red card again, you duck, you've learned. But then if you don't duck and you just eat it every time, you by definition haven't learned. And it just makes so much sense when you convert these amorphous terms into actionable steps that you can replicate. So for me to learn, I just need to keep changing my behavior. And intelligence is defined by the speed of learning or the speed of implementation. And most people just delay it for weeks and months on end before they take action. And so the most intelligent people are the ones that move with the smallest latency, smallest delay, and they just move quick. So as soon as I learn something, I want to apply it straight away. So as I'm doing the modules in Expert Coach, I'm immediately trying to see, okay, what can I extract out of this? What can I use in our modules? What did I like about this? What was a feeling I got? How could I apply the same thing? And I'll pause the video, I'll go into my modules and I'll start writing out dot points in terms of what I want to create. I don't work on it then. So that's how I organize and separate my thoughts. I just do the dot points and just make sure my thoughts are documented somewhere. Then I go back to the modules and I continue to listen and I learn. And when it's time for me to actually do my create my modules, I just go off those dot points again. And I just continue to solidify and refine what the modules are or the course is. I think that's how you create something that's amazing. I have a very open mind with everything now. I never used to have an open mind. And like sometimes I'll joke around about certain things, but I still have a very open mind about it, right? I am funny story on my Facebook Reels. I've been watching a lot of flat Earth stuff. I've been watching a lot of crazy woo-woo stuff. Not that I'm a believer, because I'm definitely not. But I just want to see what people's arguments are. I just want to see. And one of the things one of the reels I watched, this guy was an ex-FBI agent, and he talks about like what's the best lesson that he will teach someone. And there's a difference between perception and perspective. I think everyone talks from their in a place of perception, like it's how they perceive things, and they're trying to argue and convince other people of their point of view, and all they can see is from their own view, their own perception. And what you should change is perspective. Look at things from someone else's perspective. Look at things as best you can, objectively on the sidelines, and just have an open mind. And when I'm watching all these flat earth stuff, I find it really funny a lot of the times, because although I have a different belief, who am I to invalidate what they say? They've been able to connect the dots in the ways that make sense to them. And I believe that the government hasn't been 100% truthful, and I think you'd be naive to think otherwise. And so there's obviously cover-ups and things that they don't tell us. And it makes sense that people would have been able to connect these dots and believe certain things because of the mistrust between the people and the government. And one of the things I'm informed of is like people have a different way of perceiving different things. And I have a very strong power of belief. Some people rely on religion, faith, that there is a high being, a high calling for them. And even though I don't believe it, I think saying that the earth is valid and that religion or any religion is real, I believe that they both have equal chances of being a reality, despite me not actually believing in it. Because I'm just connecting the dots the way that makes sense to me in my mind, based on my experiences, what I go through and how I think and how I rationalize thoughts. And I can appreciate both camps. Yeah, I have an opinion. I'm very strong about my opinion. But I also think that they also have the right to believe in what they want to believe in. Because I think the people that believe in religion or believe in God or believe in whatever it is that their religion is, it gives them something to push forward and fight towards, the faith that there is a higher calling, or there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for them, or is that there's a lesson that the higher being or God wants them to learn. And this is just part of their journey for their personal development. And what's the difference between that belief and me just thinking like, everything I do, I can either choose to take it as a lesson or become a victim. And if it's a lesson, then it's for a greater purpose. And one day, if I keep learning these lessons, I'm gonna, advance my mind and evolve and grow and get to that point. It produces the same outcome. And so, does it matter what you believe in? Not really. Just whatever you can process in your mind that allows you to push through. And one of the things that Hang and I were talking about was like the power of belief, and people just need to believe. And as I'm walking with Hang, I start to reinforce certain ideas and I start to think. And one of the course modules, a very powerful module, it was about how to get the most out of this course. And previously when I did the other courses in the community, it was just like value. But it's not the best way for people to receive the information. I created one separate module, how to get the most out of it. And it talks about belief. And for you, like, belief is possible, but you have to believe that it is possible. And I think most people close their minds off to the possibility of belief. And, the guy that we're learning off, this expert coach guy, he has a video of him helping someone that was dealing with a stutter for 30 years. 30 years, this guy was stuttering. And you see him sitting in the couch, just stuttering. And then a few weeks later, the guy was able to talk very fluently. He was very relaxed, and he ended up becoming an actor and being on this reality TV show. And my first thought was, this guy's an actor. What if he just acted the first part? And that was me closing my mind off to the possibility. Do I know for sure? I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure if it was real. I don't know for sure if it was fake. But why would I close off my mind to the possibility that it could be real? And if it could be real, this guy's a real deal. Maybe I don't necessarily believe what he says or how he says it because it's not how normal people speak. But he's not a normal person, and neither are we. And Hang and I were talking yesterday, like when she used to hang out with her friends, when we were young, and I used to hang out in gangs and stuff. And so being nice is considered like weird, and you feel like, man, this guy's so nice. Or, people don't talk like that in reality based on that very small sample size. But those are your beliefs, and your beliefs are created based on your environment, the people around you, your upbringing, your experiences, your parents. That's everything in your life forms these beliefs. And when I came to that call or that video, I had these beliefs, and then I realized, like, what if this guy's a real deal? What if he did do that? What an opportunity it would be for me to learn off him. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do, just to be open to the idea that it could be. One of my mentors, he was Tony Robbins' best sales rep, over 100 million plus in sales. And he mentored Hang and I in sales and communication. And when you hear him speak, you can feel this genuine authenticity of who he is. But like, he's also teaching you how to replicate and do that. So there's a part of you that feels like, what if this guy, it just has a switch and he's just really good at manipulating people? Like, there's absolutely that chance. And then as I start to listen to more salespeople, they kind of speak very similarly. Some people that you can feel like their intention might not be as pure, but what if they have just been able to brainwash themselves? What if they were never this kind and caring and authentic, but now they are? And based on what they've gone through and the shifts that they've made, the belief shifts, they now are a different person. What if that is the case? And that's all that people need to do, just to be open to the possibility. And as much as I watch this flat earth stuff and I give it shit, I just think, what if? Like, what if? What if there is some big conspiracy that we just don't know about? Like, I don't think too much about it. It's just interesting to think about all the things that we don't know in the universe. And if we continue to just have one general mainstream consensus, think about it, the government can just change and shift the way you think through propaganda, through censorship, showing only certain types of content. They can do that. Like, for example, in Canada, I don't know if that bill has passed, but they were going to pass a bill where it will only show just Canadian stuff, for example, and it will just filter out less stuff for the rest of the world, something along those lines. Or if anything health related goes against or is not validated or verified by the World Health Organization, it's going to be censored. And so, like, the World Health Organization, it's fucking owned by Bill Gates, and he can, he can control whatever message comes out. And like, there's just greater powers. And I think it's important for us to not just have one general view, but to express different ideas and just think like, what if? And I think in that module, we talk about the power of belief, and people just need to believe that they could change, that change is possible for them, and that anything is possible. And when Hang and I were talking about that, it sounds really woo-woo. It sounds really, it sounds crazy. Like, if someone told me this 5 years ago, I would think they are like some kind of like gypsy, nomad, hippie, and I think they're crazy. But now the Hang and I are actually part of this, and we're able to see the change in ourselves and in other people by just helping them peel back that belief, like, what if? Most people don't succeed, or they don't stay committed, or they don't stay motivated because of the power of belief. They don't believe that they can. You don't have and you can choose to perceive a power of belief as something spiritual. I see it as something more logical. Like, if I don't have the right strategy and whatever I'm doing isn't getting me the results for the work and effort that I'm putting in, I don't believe that I can succeed. So therefore, I'm not going to put in the same effort. It's logical. It's rational. But some people can choose to see it from a spiritual perspective, that if you see it and you believe it and you can manifest it into the universe and the shared consciousness, like, who cares? Who cares how people see it? It points to the same direction. And I love how, I'm a very logical, science-based in terms of how I retain and understand information. But I understand other people aren't. And it's just crazy to see all the common similarities. And sometimes people don't realize it, but they're fucking arguing the same thing. And so that's something that I want you to encourage you guys. An example would be like Conor McGregor. Right now, when you see the person he is now, it's very easy to judge him. But I don't think it can take away the person that he once was. He was able to predict play for play exactly how a fight happened. He fought Aldo, undefeated for 10 years, and won the fight in 13 seconds. He envisioned that whole fight, knew that his right hand was going to unload right after the fight. One of the reporters said, I'm going to repeat back what you said. You knew that he saw a twitch and he was going to unload. And when he does, he's not going to be there. And that's the power of manifestation, the power of belief. He believes it. He's done his research. He's done his homework, and he truly believes it. It's not fake belief. Belief is from reinforcement based on the things that have actually happened. You can't just tell yourself to believe something. So that's why we say the first step is to not just believe that you can succeed or believe that you are going to be successful. The first step is to be open to the idea that you could. And as you start to allow yourself to open that idea, you start to change your actions. And as you change your actions, it starts to reinforce new behaviors. And that starts to reinforce new beliefs. And it becomes a perpetual thing. It's like the chicken or the egg. And it snowballs. I truly believe that we're going to succeed in our business. And it's just a matter of time, because it's the same as training. You might not see the results day in, day out, but as long as you're intentional about trying to progress and get better, you will. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. I really look up to guys like Conor McGregor, because like the mindset that he once had to create the life that he has now is incredible. And one of the things that he said that really stuck to me was to not let wins get to you. And when you see him after, doing the press conference after the fights, he's very zen. At least the way that he used to be, very zen. To not let wins affect you, because wins, it's in the fight game. I'm not really into fighting that much, but I like to observe the people who are successful in their domain and seek to understand what got them to that success and how I can extract something of my own. And the fight game, people say like a lose can make a break, but a win can also make a break. And I feel that. I feel like every time I get a win, I don't try as hard. Same thing with running a business. You might go through tough moments where you don't make anything for a week and a half, and then you make like $10,000 in a day. And then now I don't work as hard for the rest of the week because I've made more than what most people make in 2 months in like 2 days. But it's like a psychological thing because that fear and that pressure isn't there anymore. And I think learning how to be zen on both ends, when you lose and when you win, and just being objective about what the next move is how you really get to that next level. You know, and I think for me, I've always celebrated these little wins. And I was sharing yesterday about how I would start something and it'll be amazing and there'll be great promise, and then I won't finish it because I allow that win to get to my head. I allow that win to know that I could succeed and I don't try as hard, when I need to have the mindset that nothing is ever done until it's actually done. And I need to learn how to maintain the same level of intensity throughout the whole period, throughout the whole project, throughout the whole journey, and not just for a short period. And I think most people, they think that just because they can do it for a short period, they can do it for the rest of their life. They can't. It's like training for a marathon the way that you would a sprint. It's two different perspectives. It's two different trainings. And so what I need to work on is the endurance, the mental endurance to have long-term sustained success. Because when I'm thinking about doing these modules, as excited as I am to get this done, I realize that I need to be doing what I'm doing for the last week for the rest of the year. Once this free course comes out, I do another free course and another free course, another free course. I should be allocating 4 to 5, 6 hours of my day just creating these things and thinking about how I can make it better and make it better, make it better. Like every day doesn't change. You know, when you hit a PB at the gym, which I actually hit a PB at the gym, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. You know, you realize that you got to go back the next week and do it again. Just 3 days later, go back and do it again. Nothing changes. It's great that you celebrate it, but you need to go back and still get the work done. Otherwise, that PB will be the last PB that you ever achieve, and it'll be a memory that you look back on for the rest of your life, but not have anything to look forward to. And speaking of my PB, lat pull downs, big accomplishment. I was able to do 95 kilos in lat pull downs, which is 1.25 times my body weight. And I've been stuck on 65 to 75 for about a year now. And a lot of it is like a psychological barrier. But what was really interesting was, as I was doing the reps, it honestly felt like half reps. That's how it felt. It felt extremely difficult. It was painful. And it looked like I was doing half reps. I'm glad I recorded it, because when I recorded it, they were complete reps. And I think, you know, in my training years prior, if I wasn't recording myself, I wouldn't know and be able to review my form and technique. And I probably wouldn't have done that weight again, because I would have been afraid that they weren't honest or complete reps. And how I was able to achieve 95 was really a psychological barrier. I was just stuck between 65 and 70 for so long. And I think that this is why having a coach is very meaningful, because I think what most people think when they train is, I want to try to do this weight until the reps are perfect and then I'll go up. Like, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes it works the other way. Sometimes you literally have to run before you can walk. And if you've been stuck at a certain weight for a while, it could be a psychological plateau. And you need to just go up in weight to get your nervous system acclimated to higher weight. And then once you go back, it feels lighter and you're able to push more because of the power of belief. Because I did 95 for the first time a few weeks ago. I was only able to get like 6 reps, and they felt sketchy. When I watched it, it looked super solid. And that started to allow me to be a bit more confident with the weight, power of belief. And then as I go back down in weight, I'm like, well, last week I did 95. If I were to reduce it by 10 or 20 kilos, I should be able to get a lot of reps out. And because I believed that I could, I did. And then that allowed me to continue to break through the plateau. In my last session, I did 2 sets of 8 and then 7.5. You know, when you watch the video, and I think the last set, I think it would pass as 8 full reps. I think for most people, they would have considered that. But I hold myself to a higher standard. But sometimes you have to run before you can walk, and you have to break through that barrier. It's this glass ceiling that you set for yourself that you think you can't do it. Go out and do more than what you think you could, just to prove to yourself that you can. You know, I did a reel about this, that you have to set goals. Goals are so big that you don't think you can achieve it. And go out and fight for those goals. Because when you land, you aim for the moon, you land among the stars. And that's really important, to continue to dream big and dream bigger than you think you can achieve. And wherever you land, you land. And once you start to prove to yourself that you're able to go further than what you initially thought, that starts to reinforce the belief that you can achieve greatness. And I think that's what fitness has taught me and what continues to teach me every single day, and why I'm able to continue to work so hard for this business. And when you work for a business, you might not see the wheels turn when you put in all this upfront work, but eventually it will. Again, power of belief. You got to believe and have faith that that is the future that's going to happen. And whether you rely on actual faith and religion to help calibrate that North Star, or use logic and rationalize, it's completely up to you. But as long as you continue to do the thing, push hard. So those were the type of things that we were talking about on the group coaching call last night. It was great to one of the things I've learned was group coaching call. I first introduced it 2 years ago, and the group coaching call initially, we were told to do it part of our mentoring course to buy back our time. And I think the way that we presented it back then, initially was just to buy back time. And our community was much bigger 2 years ago than it was now. Our price point was lower. We had 5 or 6 coaches doing lead generation, access, like tapping into their network. We had a lot of hype in Melbourne, and the community, we had a lot of people join those group coaching calls, like 8, 9, 10 people joined those calls. But I don't think the calls were as productive as they were now. I think it's completely different environment, different vibe. But what I've learned over the years is group coaching calls can sometimes be more effective than one-to-one calls. I think sometimes people like one-to-one calls because they have this anxiety and fear, and they want to feel motivated, and they just want someone to come save them. But when we're part of our courses, we don't have many one-to-one calls, and we join the group calls. And I find that on group calls, it makes me appreciate the time so much more, because I don't have 1 hour to spend with someone. I have a call that goes for an hour, and there might be 20 people there. So I have to join early, and I have to make sure I ask my question early so the coaches can prepare. And when I'm there, I have to make use of my time by asking the most efficient question possible. And that's how you get the most out of a group coaching call. Versus a one-to-one call, you don't think about it. You jump into a call and you're like, oh yeah, I'll just tell them everything when I'm on the call. And then they ramble and they rant. And sometimes people just want to ramble and they just want to rant because it makes them feel better. But it doesn't necessarily lead to better results. There was someone that I've been coaching for fitness business. And in the first few weeks, I would jump on like these 2 or 3 hour calls with him to give him up to speed and everything that he needs to learn. And like things just weren't moving, because he would look forward to these calls to help him escape out of what he was feeling, which was his own anxieties and his own fears of not actually putting in the work and his own mental resistance. And he just feels good being able to talk to someone that has been able to achieve the goals you want and can inspire you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that change is going to happen. And I truly see the value of group coaching calls, because you're surrounding yourself with others, and you have to act and behave in alignment with the people around you. If you see someone show up, they're prepared for the call, they know how to ask a question, and they're receiving feedback, now you're just like, fuck, I didn't prepare. I'm not even prepared. I don't even know what question I want to ask. And now the next time you show up, you feel like you have to respect everyone else's time. And it just allows you to elevate, because a rising tide lifts all ships. And sometimes when it's one-to-one, the reason why people want it to be one-to-one, besides obviously personal things in their life, they want it to be one-to-one because they want to hide their shame. They want to hide the shame. And they only have one person to kind of talk to. But when you put yourself out there and you put your shame, not necessarily to the world, but to a community of others who are also looking to make a change, you're so much more likely to actually succeed. And I put all my shames out there every day right now. I have nothing to lose, and it means that I have to face my reality. And it's why people drink. It's why people do drugs. It's why people have this addiction to food. It's crazy the amount of people I talk to that are addicted to food. They have attachment to food because they struggle to face their reality. They don't want to spend time alone. They don't want to spend time alone with their thoughts because it spirals down. But that's not the right way to look at it. Like if you're fat and obese, you need someone to tell you that you are fat and obese and you need to make a change. You need to face the reality. Like the truth hurts. But what hurts even more is being in denial and then losing all these years that you could have made a change and been better. Like that's the truth. And I like to empower people with the truth. Sometimes I'm fucking savage. I don't mean to be a savage. I just don't think about trying to soften the blow. You know, sometimes when Hank cooks food, 90% of the time it's amazing, but sometimes she'll make the rice dry. And I'll be like, fuck man, this rice is dry as. Or like, oh man, this is really salty. But then when I compliment and it's amazing, they know it's amazing. You know? And it's the same thing with one of my clients in the community. They post like a transformation. They're standing in the mirror, and I looked at it. I'm like, man, your left arm is smaller than your right arm. It's like I think he deserves the truth. You know, like people post things up unconsciously, maybe because they want the validation for everyone else to say like, oh yeah, man, nice work. You look jacked. Or great transformation. But I would much rather someone be honest with me and be like, dude, you need to work on that. Because short term, their approval might make you feel good, but long term, you don't make progress. And now he's probably going to be self-conscious about his left arm, and now he's going to start putting more effort into his left arm. And so therefore, he's going to start growing. You know, I think people deserve that. And group coaching calls are a really good opportunity for people to just face the truth, you know. And really, they say that they're afraid that other people will judge them, but no one has said anything. It's their own projections of what other people, what they think of themselves, and they're projecting it onto other people. And that's the truth. And if I'm on a call with someone and they're like, oh, I'm afraid that people might judge you, I'm like, who? And sometimes it might be one person. It might just be one person in their mind that they think might judge them. And you're like, wow, would you really want to give that person that much power to live rent-free in your head and to let that person that doesn't even think anything of you, that hasn't said anything, affect your decisions to actually be the person that you want? And so that's what we do in our community. And I feel like the things we do is very, very meaningful because it's very mindset, you know. And the thing is, there are a lot of in quotes mindset coaches out there that are a little bit more woo-woo, and you know, it's hard to quantify a mindset development. And that's where I think we're different. It's because we use fitness as the vehicle to quantify your mindset development. I will push guys to get into the best physiques, not because they want it. It almost doesn't matter what they want, because what they ultimately want is to be the best version of themselves. And unless they have a valid reason to not be in the best physique they can, I will drive them towards getting that physique just to prove to themselves as something that's tangible that they can hold on to every day to quantify the development in terms of the mindset. You know, one of the guys I'm working with, I've known him for years and we used to play games together. And I posted what he thought about his journey so far in the community. And his physique looks fucking great right now. And I want to push him to get a really shredded physique because the guys that we used to hang out with, they've all been shredded. They all look crazy. You know, they used to go to these events, trance events, and they look like fucking clouds. Everyone's like shredded. And I would always be the guy that's like wearing the singlet, you know, and wearing the shirt. And I eventually got to feel what it felt like to have that physique. And it did so much for me in my life to realize that when I look at these people, I can achieve it too, rather than just looking from the outside. And that's why I want to teach this guy. I want to, you know, his relationship was on the rocks. You know, he's someone he's known for like 7 years, and he was doing drugs every single week, like lying to her. And he had this addiction that he couldn't stop. And he was going to sign up like 2 years ago, but he had cold feet. And he reached out recently to finally make it happen. And now he's quit all that stuff. He's actually a role model to his friends, and his friends have actually started to stop drinking. He's quit vaping as well, and it's like this massive snowball. And now he's finally ready to say, like, I'm ready to get shredded. I'm ready to just see how far I can go. You know, it's to give someone a taste of what is possible and how far they can actually go. Again, the power of belief, because once you're able to achieve what is so incredibly difficult, because you know what? This is a generalized statement, but I don't know anyone that doesn't want to be shredded. And I think a lot of people, they justify it in their mind, oh yeah, I don't want to be skinny. What type of guy is going to be like 60 kilos? Again, it's like this ego thing, because down deep in their hearts, they know it's fucking difficult. Why do you think having a lean physique as a celebrity is so freaking desirable, right? Because it looks good. It's a representation of like peak male performance, and everyone wants it, right? For the most part. And the ones that don't probably associate the perceived effort required to actually achieve the goal and don't think the outcome is worth it. So it makes sense that it's not a priority for them. But if they get to wake up looking like whoever they want, would you want to wake up having a dad bod? I don't know many people that do. That's the truth. And so there is a goal that you want. And if you just reinforce a behavior or a thinking pattern that you can't achieve certain things because it's too difficult or you don't want to, then you're never going to achieve anything in life. But you need to prove to yourself that you can just do the thing just because. And I think it's pretty cool, man. Like, I don't know anyone. I can tell you right now, working with like 500 plus people, some people at the start like, oh, I don't really want abs. And as they start to make progress, I start to push them, to guide them, to inspire them, to want to work towards the ultimate self. I don't know anyone that got abs and said, this is shit. I don't know anyone that says, man, I hate the way I look in the mirror. I hate waking up with abs. Man, everyone starts touching themselves. They start grabbing their fat, they grab their skin, and you do that, you love it. And once you experience it, you're like, this feels fucking awesome. You wake up every single day so used to looking at a certain version of yourself, and now you see this peak version of yourself, and it's a representation of all the choices and sacrifices and compromises that you made. That's why it's so valuable to each individual person. I highly implore that each of you strive to achieve it just once. Of course, there's going to be some compromises and some downsides and lack of energy. You are going to be a little bit hungry, but remember, you should be proud of the sacrifices that you make for the things that you want, and you wear that proudly like a medal. Being born with abs isn't as impressive as someone that's overweight and had to give up food and have to overcome those hunger signals and those lifetime habits that they built to actually achieve a goal. It's an arbitrary goal. It's impressive when someone achieves their goal. So that's why I feel like the things that we do is very meaningful, and I have to push beyond just the visual, the aesthetics, and the vain goals. Of course I want to look good, right? Who doesn't? But I think your goal and your why has to be deeper and greater than just how you look for you to actually succeed. And all I think about is, if I have a jacked physique, it's got to teach my kids to have fitness values ingrained into their life. And as they grow older, they're always going to look back of who their dad was, and that becomes their reality. Like, if you're a fat parent, your kids are going to be fat. Even if they're active now, you know how many parents I talk to and they're fat and they take the kids to sport and stuff. I'm like, that's great for now. But when they go older, they're going to get fat, because those are the people that join my program. They used to be skinny and they used to be active in high school. And then when they start full-time work, they stop exercising because that's what their parents did. Unconsciously, they start to realign themselves with these beliefs that they once had. Again, it comes down to beliefs. They believe that as a parent, you should be out of shape because that's what their parents were, because it was important to prioritize work over, their health. And so as they go older, they're going to do the same thing. And so the best way, you can't guarantee it, but the best way for you to increase the likelihood of your kids living a healthy life is for you to live that healthy life. You have to change your identity. You have to change your beliefs. You have to change the way that you think and allow yourself to be that person. I was never the fitness guy. I was never the business owner guy. I was never the hardworking guy. I was never the leader guy. I was never the guy that you would even listen to. I created that identity through habits and reinforced it over time. And as that starts to reinforce, it starts to reinforce my beliefs on who I am and who I want to be. And I start to look at the trend and the trajectory, and I start to project who I could be. And so my belief is an estimated guess based on my trend. While most people will look at success as luck. I hope that one day I can, with no real game plan or a pathway to get there. So I hope this has been valuable for you guys. Some of my intentions for today is to finish off my nutrition course and to script 15 reels and start planning out the database for Everfit. man, I've been so tunnel vision building out this course. I love it. The last time I felt like this was when I started making YouTube videos like 3 years ago. Just being able to find my passion again and be able to express what I know into something that people could consume. So I'm very excited, and you're probably gonna hear me talk about it every day, and that's cool because that's the things I think about every day. And it's a repetition, it's the same thing every single day that leads to success. It's not anything fancy. And you know what? If you guys spend it took me less than 5 minutes throughout my day to just write down all my thoughts as I start to think of it, I'm able to go on live every single day for like 30, 40, 45 minutes. Like, this is all the things that I think about on a daily basis. And people either are just intentionally not thinking and reflecting, or they are, but they're not documenting it down. So they can't make progress in terms of how they think and how they see things. And their mind isn't growing. My mind is growing every single day because I'm just documenting it down. And as I speak it, I get to reevaluate whether it sounds reasonable, unrealistic, crazy, or it reinforces my identity, my behavior, my beliefs. That's it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'm really enjoying doing these daily journals, and it kind of feels like the way it was like 2 years ago when I was showing up on these lives every day. And I don't think it was a coincidence that we were able to achieve what we did, because I went live for 6 months in a row every single weekday, and that's when we hit our record month. And I'm not doing this for the record month. Of course, I'd like to hope for those record months, but I'm doing this for me so that I can progressively overload and keep myself accountable every single day. And I thank you guys for being a part of this journey. That's it. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And I'll see you guys. Wait, I've got some comments from Mike here. Let me read this. So the screen is really small. Okay. Mike, thanks for sharing. Been watching for some time, and yeah, this resonates because a lot of times we think something is the case, and that becomes our reality rather than having something be physically limited. You tell it how it is, and to be honest, that's what people need sometimes, to be brutally honest. Appreciate you, Mike. Mike has been following and supporting rather for a very long time, so I appreciate that. But yeah, that's it. Have your own opinions. Take what I say with a grain of salt. Challenge me if you like. I always welcome it. And I hope you guys succeed. I hope you guys do well. I hope you guys find belief in yourself in terms of who you are and what you want to do. I hope you guys find purpose. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.